Rachel White is a cocktail waitress at a truck stop strip club in an interstate cowtown in Central California. As her life spirals out of control, poverty and paranoia force her to make a string of increasingly desperate decisions. Decisions that will lead her to the Hell Patrol, a paramilitary organization of hot rod driving mercenaries that hunt demons for fame and fortune. This is Hell Patrol Origins. Whoa! Cooler's back, baby! No, he's not. Chapter 10. When they pulled up to the curb in front of Rachel's building, she could see her apartment door from the street and realized that it was open. Rachel's breath left her lungs. She dry heaved, recovered, and then forced herself calm again. She couldn't be sure. She couldn't be sure of anything. How fast could someone recover from a gunshot wound? What the hell happened? Was it even a robber? Or did she just leave the door open like an idiot? Henry picked up on her mood. "You okay, girl?" "My door's open. It's the third one on the right on the second floor. You can see it from here, but right now, I don't know if I'm just an idiot, or it's the stalker, or just a random burglar," Rachel explained, and almost started hyperventilating. "You got your strap?" Henry asked. Rachel reached for the gun in her jacket pocket, felt the cold polymer on the pistol grip. She felt a little safer. Only a little. She nodded. "Let's go check it out." Henry opened the door, walked around to the trunk, put his key in it, and pulled out the calico that he had shown Rachel earlier. "Word of the wise. Don't ever walk around with a strap out unless you're wearing your Hell Patrol jacket. If you're with Hell Patrol, cops don't bother you. You got a piece without your jacket? You're a suspect." They went up the stairs to Rachel's place. Henry grabbed her arm when she went for the door, pulled her back, and gestured to her to pull her gun out. "I'll check it out first. You get your shit out. Someone might still be in there," Henry said. He disappeared through the door. Rachel could count her heartbeats. She felt like her brain was marinating in her stomach, and all her other organs were in her throat. If she could throw up, she'd vomit up all her guts and just be an empty sack of fear with legs. It wasn't even a minute before Henry was back at the door. "It's clear the place is tossed, but, I don't know. I don't know if anything is missing. Looked like kind of a shithole to start with." "Sorry," Henry said. "It is a shithole," Rachel said. She walked in and saw that most of her clothes were thrown around the floor. The scant pieces of furniture she owned were upended, and the drawers in the kitchenette were pulled out and dumped out. For the first time in her life, Rachel was relieved to be poor and not have anything. There was nothing in there worth stealing. Henry moved back to the door and looked at the frame. "Well, the good news is, you're not an idiot." "What do you mean?" Rachel asked. Henry tapped the door frame with the barrel of the gun, pointing to chipped and exposed wood. "Someone jimmied your door. It was closed. They busted it open." Rachel stood in the middle of the room. She didn't know what to do anymore, what to think. Nothing worked, nothing mattered. She felt like she was punished no matter what she did, like her decisions wouldn't make any difference. She dropped her hands to her sides and deflated like a balloon. "Hey, it's the hood. You don't know if it was that guy. Could have been totally random. You got blackout curtains. Maybe they thought you had something worth stealing that you were hiding. Or a grow room, Henry said. Because that would make it better? Rachel asked. Well, knowing for sure that it was the stalker after you shot his ass would definitely make it worse. I'd be fucking shook if my shit got broken into by somebody I shot. Dude would be the fucking Terminator, Henry said. You don't have a girlfriend, do you? Rachel asked. Nah, why? Because that's not the kind of shit I'd say to encourage a bitch. Henry looked around the room, went to the kitchen and found a garbage bag. He started picking up Rachel's clothes off the floor and shoving her laundry into the bag. What are you doing? She asked. Grabbing your shit. You ain't gonna stay here, right? You can take my guest bed or the dorm back at the jail. Oh shit, Johnny! Rachel realized. That guy you were with? Yeah, it's cool with him. No, I mean, fuck. He must be worried about me. Or he doesn't know if he should be worried about me. Fuck, he made me promise to call him if fucked up shit happened, Rachel explained. Well, we just now saw you got robbed. Cut yourself some slack, Henry said. I meant before that. I'd say joining Hell Patrol was pretty fucked up shit, Rachel said. Honestly, it might be the only not fucked up thing you did recently, Henry shrugged. Fuck, he's gonna kill me. He'll be so pissed. What are you worried about him for? He's not the one that got his place broken into, or joined the Hell Patrol, or shot a dude, Henry said. He's weirdly protective about the girls he works with because his sister stripped through college back before the war, Rachel said. It's actually kind of cute when I'm not living in fear and conveniently need it. So, crash with him or, fuck my life. I'm gonna go with him. I'll feel a little safer. Also, he'd chew my fucking ear off if I didn't tell him. I couldn't fucking do that to him. God damn it. Why do I care more about his feelings? I'm the one who got broken into, Rachel huffed. That's just how chicks are. Y'all get better at that shit with age. See at home? Or the club, or whatever. Dude looked pretty tough. I'd be alright dropping you off with him, Henry said. He should be off. We can go straight to his place. It's down the street. Okay, help me pack your shit. I can't find any bras. Maybe the dude was a perv. Stole them all or something? Rachel looked at Henry, then down at her chest, then back at Henry. I own like 2 bras. I'm on the itty-bitty titty committee. They're expensive and I usually go without. Besides, I usually get tipped better when guys can see my nipples through my cocktail dress. Hey, I was just trying to be helpful. I normally don't go around a girl's apartment looking for her underwear. Rachel flipped over one of the drawers that had been pulled out and dumped on the floor, found her underwear drawer under it, gathered up a handful of cheap intimates that were in the 3 for $10 bags on the pig at Walmart, stuffed them into Henry's garbage bag. Well, that's good news. What is? Rachel asked. I don't think it's a stalker. Whoever tossed your place was probably just a crackhead looking for a quick score. He didn't run your drawers for your panties. Why do you think that? Because if you were some fucking weirdo that chased around strippers and cocktail waitresses and you broke into your apartment, wouldn't you try to sniff panties or collect stray hairs off your brush or lick your deodorant stick or some weird shit? Henry asked. If all your personal intimate shit is still here, probably wasn't some weird perv. It was just a crackhead. I guess that makes it a little better, Rachel shrugged. Go get your toothbrush and your shampoo bottle or whatever. Rachel went into her bathroom and gathered up her toiletries. The drawers were pulled open and rifled, but everything was there, along with all the objects and garbage that might have things like her hair or blood on them. She gained some small relief from knowing that Henry was right. If someone wanted to sexually assault her, they probably would have taken some kind of genetic data or intimate apparel as a trophy. It wasn't great, but she figured in the grand scheme of things, a crackhead break-in was better than a pervert break-in. You okay? You look like something's on your mind. I'm just mentally unpacking the concept that I'm more comfortable with a drug addict breaking in my apartment than a rapist.
It definitely sounds better.
It shouldn't be either. Why does it have to be the lesser of two evils? Rachel asks.
Hey, we didn't ask to be born broke-ass tieflings and be shitty poor people in this shitty fucked up world. Come on. I don't think hanging around here is doing you any favors. Let's go find your boyfriend.
Rachel followed him out of the apartment, shut the door behind herself, put the key in the door to lock it, and then laughed. Henry turned around, looked at her funny, realized she was trying to lock a door that had been busted in, and then shrugged again. He's not my boyfriend, by the way, Rachel said.
Are you saying that because you're looking for one, or is there something else going on?
It's complicated. Well, actually, it's not complicated. He's fucked every girl I know from work. Apparently one of the perks of being a strip club bouncer is that all the girls take turns on you when they need a he-man for the night, Rachel admitted.
And it's your turn in the rotation.
Yeah, he's a man whore. But he's one of the only people in my life who has ever said he cared about me. Is it fucked up that the best I can do is the strip club rideshare dick? Rachel asked.
I think you're overthinking and oversharing. How about I just take you over there and you make some tea and binge watch chick flicks or something? I don't know. Do whatever it is chicks do to relax and turn your brain off. You dealt with a lot of shit lately.
Should we call the cops or the super?
They're gonna do anything about it? Or do anything to make you feel better?
Henry asked. Fuck it, you're right, let's go. I'll call the manager in the car. I'm sure he gives a shit about the property. Henry and Rachel got back to the car. She dialed the front office of the apartment complex and reported the break-in, and learned that there was a string of robberies in the building, not just hers. Turns out somebody really took a belt to that place and I wasn't the only one hit, Rachel said, putting her phone back in her pocket.
Well, every cloud has a silver lining, right? It wasn't a weird perv B&E, just a normal crackhead B&E. See, it was a random act of asshole, not a weird stalking one.
That makes it a little better, Rachel said.
It would make me feel a lot better if I were you. I figure hot chicks like you and your girlfriends at the club get all kinds of weird shit from horny dudes. The last thing I'd want is one following me home.
Yeah, well, you remember that part where that actually happened to me, right? Didn't I tell you that, like...
Yeah. Hey, we're here. This is the spot, right?
Henry asked. Rachel looked up and saw they were at the address she had given Henry. She reached behind her seat to grab the garbage bag of her things and get out of the car. As she hopped out and closed the door, he leaned out of his window.
Hey, listen. You need to start apartment shopping for a new place. A nice place. You're gonna have money soon, so pick one out. Somewhere with a garage so you can park the car. You don't want to couch surf with me or your boyfriend for your whole career.
I told you he's not a boy.
All the reason not to couch surf forever with him. You think guys like him stop bringing home strange just because there's another female in the house? Henry asked.
Rachel knew that he was right. Hey, thanks for everything, okay?
Don't worry about it. You're Hell Patrol, and more importantly, you can drive. Let's just say you're being groomed. My crew could use a wheelman like you, Henry said.
Is that another come on?
Damn, girl, go get your man. You're not my type,
Henry said, pulled away from the curb and back into traffic. Rachel sighed, dropped her garbage bag on Johnny's porch, and rang the bell. Johnny answered the door, and Rachel saw his face go through a series of emotions at the sight of her. There was confusion at first, then a sexual, hungering smile, and back to confusion again. There was a string of break-ins at my place. Can I crash with you until they fix my locks? My apartment isn't safe. They take any of your shit? Johnny asked. I don't even own a TV. What do I have worth taking? Johnny grabbed her garbage bag off the porch. Come in. Rachel walked in and he closed the door behind her. He took the garbage bag of her stuff and threw it on the bed, then came back through the apartment to the kitchenette and opened the fridge. You said a string of break-ins. It wasn't him, wasn't it? Johnny asked. Couldn't have been, unless he recovered from a gunshot wound to the stomach overnight. There weren't any signs of weird shit. Nothing a creepy pervert would want was missing, and the other units in the building were tossed too. It was just more hood shit in the hood, Rachel said. Still a shitty deal. You want a beer? You look like you could use a beer. He pulled 2 cans of Coors out of the fridge. Why not the whole case at this point? Rachel shrugged, took the offered can. She cracked the pull tab and drank. As she put the can to her lips, she wondered where Johnny was last night. One of the other girls? Was she jealous? Was she worried about STIs? Drama? She knew it wasn't going to stop her anyway. His energy, his sex, it was magnetic. She took solace in the fact that she at least knew the girls from the club, and they weren't sluts. They all fucked Johnny, but they probably didn't move around much besides that. There were no sluts in a club, after all. Nothing the girls did there was free. She looked up over the rim of the can and saw that Johnny was undressing with her eyes, his focus on the neckline of her ratty t-shirt. Rachel knew he was imagining the line of his spit on her chest that he had licked between her breasts the last time they were together. He stood in silence, staring unashamedly, leaning on the kitchen counter. Rachel knew what was going to happen next. It was why she walked through the door. She knew it, and she wanted it. She could have had a perfectly clean, perfectly wholesome guest bedroom in Henry's house, in a gated community, with a security shack and round-the-clock guard service. But she made him drop her off here, down the block from her own broken-in apartment in a bad neighborhood, so she could get pinned to a mattress and claw scratches on Johnny's back. "What you thinking about?" he asked, as he tapped the beer can, empty. "How absolutely fucking toxic we are, and I can't get enough of it," Rachel said. Johnny took the half-finished beer out of her hand, threw it in his kitchen sink, and then grabbed Rachel by the horn. He yanked her close, put his mouth on her neck. She felt his lips pressed against the sensitive flesh under her ear. His hands moved again. Both of them were on her now. He ran his thumbs through her belt loops, picked her up by her hips, and then carried her to the mattress and threw her on it. Rachel squirmed. She thrashed around the bed, pulling the Hell Patrol jacket off. She tried to wrench her t-shirt over her head. She saw that Johnny was yanking his own clothes off. She knew that she was stripping on borrowed time, that he wouldn't wait for her. As soon as he got out of his jeans, he would be on her, and he wouldn't stop, not even for her to take off her clothes. She loved that. The jeans hit the floor. He was on her then, on the mattress, on top of her. She felt his weight and his heat. She felt his thighs on her, forcing her own legs open. She felt the whisperer of his erection brush against her. Then his fingers were down there, guiding, slipping. The sudden shock of entry. And he was on YouTube. Womp womp. Cock block. Let's see. Paragraph of sex. Paragraph of sex. Paragraph of sex. His arms were around her neck. Scratching his back until he bleeds. Yeah, what do we got here? Oh, light bondage. Okay. Where's the part where I pick it up again? Shit. Yeah, hold on. Oh, okay, here we go. Sorry. "I'm going to tie you to this bed and make you my sex slave," he whispered into her ear. "But first, how'd you get that Hell Patrol jacket?" Rachel's eyes shot open. She felt Johnny suddenly go deadweight on top of her, no longer just rubbing flesh against flesh, but full drop crushing bone on bone. She felt his body moving on top of her, his hands on her hands. and the belt constricting her wrists hung on the bed frame to restrain her. She was stuck, compromised, pinned to the bed, tied to the headboard. He had planned it like that, so he could ask the tough questions. "Can we talk about this later?" Rachel asked. "You're not in a position to negotiate. Besides, I need a couple more minutes." Rachel wished he was bluffing on both counts. Unfortunately, he was right. She was in a compromising position. Unfair did not begin to describe it. "I joined Hell Patrol," Rachel admitted. "I know. We got a call at work. They called and told them to cut your last check and put it on auto deposit. They do that, Rachel. You got snitched on by their company policy," Johnny explained. "Why'd you even fucking ask then?" she sneered. Johnny rolled off of her and stood up. He walked into the bathroom and urinated. "It doesn't fucking matter, does it?" he asked the toilet. "You're really going through with it, aren't you? I can't talk you out of it." "If you saw my car, you'd go too," she said. "It's just a car. This is your life," he finished, came back to the bed. "You're fucking right it is," Rachel said. "Real money, real life, houses, mortgages, health insurance and shit. Real fucking life. Not just pushing cocktails and fucking bouncers." He reached out and pinched her nose shut with his thumb and finger. She opened her mouth to breathe. He let go of her nose, and he shoved his... Yeah. Can't read those last two sentences. "I don't want you to die. I want to keep fucking you," he said. The Chapter 10 recap. Alright, we're here, boys and girls. We are finally here. Let's talk about what happened. So Henry drives Rachel home, and when they get there, they figure out that her apartment was burglarized. Then while Rachel is standing in the ruins of her apartment, she has an oh crap moment and remembers that she's supposed to call Johnny if any bad shit happens. Now remember, back in Chapter 2, she promised she would call Johnny anytime she had a problem. And she realizes right at that moment that she never called Johnny when she shot the stalker or when she joined Hell Patrol. She hasn't talked to him in like a couple days. So she's all like, "Oh shit, I fucked up. I was supposed to call Johnny." Then that triggers her own moment of realization when she finally puts two and two together and says, "Why do I give a shit about calling Johnny? I'm the one who's having all the fucking problems." So this is the moment. This is the trigger. We have reached Rachel's turning point now, where she is able to kind of step away from the situation, look at how ridiculous something is, and say, you know, fuck everyone else. It's time for me to think about me. So we're finally here. We are finally at Rachel's. This is the real turning point in the story. This is Rachel's apotheosis, where she stops being this doormat that is constantly worried about other people and actually self-actualizes and worries about herself. So now Rachel is a whole human being. We finally fucking did it. And there's going to be more evidence of that later in the chapter as well. So Rachel realizes that she has a self-esteem issue and is more worried about portraying Johnny than the actual trauma she suffered, and then realizes that's ridiculous and fucking bosses up. So another important thing happened while Henry and Rachel are going through the apartment. Henry admits that he has an ulterior motive, and that one of the reasons that he's so chummy with Rachel is because he's grooming her for his Hell Patrol crew. Henry very desperately wants Rachel to be on his team when they go out Hell Patrolling because of Rachel's driving skill. And as we've mentioned multiple times in the story, most Hell Patrollers are amateur drivers on their best day. There are very few tieflings in Hell Patrol that are actually know how to drive and are good at driving. So having Hell Patrollers with driving skill is a big deal. So Henry admits that he is in fact grooming her. He just comes out and says it. He literally says, "I am grooming you." So we finally see that, it's like Henry has a very positive attitude. He's all about vibing, having a good time, and like he doesn't like to let shit bother him. But don't assume that because Henry is all about the good vibes that he's dumb or there's nothing happening behind those sunglasses. He's smarter than he lets on, and he knows how to cultivate good people. Henry is good at picking the people that he wants to be around. And that's one of the reasons that he's always so chilled out and friendly. It's because he's assessing people and he's choosing who he wants to be near. So don't sleep on Henry. Henry's low-key actually a smart guy, and he knows what he's doing with his charisma. So then after we figure out that about Henry, he drops Rachel off at Johnny's place so she can stay there while they fix her apartment. They start having kinky sex. So we didn't actually, because we don't read the sex scenes on YouTube, sometimes the stuff that happens during them is kind of confusing and gets lost in translation. So Rachel starts scratching Johnny's back, and to keep her from scratching his back, Johnny ties her to the bed. And then once Johnny has her tied to the bed, he starts grilling her. He stops fucking her, and he asks her about, hey, where did this Hell Patrol jacket come from? And then Rachel, because she's in a compromised position, literally tied to a bed, has to admit that she joined Hell Patrol and come clean about all the stuff that she hasn't been communicating with Johnny. And, of course, Johnny is disappointed because Johnny cares about her, and he never wanted her to go into Hell Patrol because he doesn't want her to put her life at risk and get hurt. And then Rachel snaps at him because Rachel is a big girl now. Rachel is making her own decisions, and she's taking responsibility and ownership for them, and she's being in charge of her life. And what's the exact line in the text? When Johnny says, "It's just a card, this is your life," Rachel said, "You're fucking right, it is. Real money, real life, houses, mortgages, health insurance and shit. Real fucking life, not just pushing cocktails and fucking bouncers." So she snaps back. She snaps back, and she's done now. She's done taking bullshit. She has made a decision. She's committed to the decision. She's gonna see it through. We are here now. It took until chapter 10, but Rachel has a spine. So get it, queen. So that is the big turning point for Rachel. Rachel is putting on the big girl pants, and that is actually probably the most important thing that happens in this chapter. The second most important thing is realizing that Henry is more aware of what's going on than he lets on. He's like sometimes he lets people think that he's just all the way chilled out and doesn't give a shit about nothing. And it's true, he is pretty chilled out and he doesn't give a shit about nothing. But he ain't dumb, and he knows what he's doing in terms of interpersonal relationships. But, Rachel is here now, ladies. Rachel's the boss bitch now. Everybody fucking bow down to the queen. Thank you for listening to Hell Patrol. We will be back with Chapter 11. What's going to happen in Chapter 11? There's going to be more car porn. There's going to be gun porn. What do we got here? Oh. Yeah, we're going to see Val again in the next chapter. That's going to be Chapter 11. Chapter 12, Killing Zombies. Finally there, boys. We're 2 chapters away from murdering fucking zombies with a car. It's finally going down. Alright, one last car and gun porn chapter between us and killing some fucking zombies. Let's go, baby. Thank you for listening to Hell Patrol.